The 39th Brigade's offensive is moving in the Pokrovsk direction towards the residential area east of the Ulyanivka settlement. As the armored vehicles moved along the road, they were constantly subjected to Ukrainian FPV drone and artillery strikes. However, the armored vehicles with enhanced protection did not run away and kept moving forward. When the armored personnel carrier arrived at the settlement, the infantry quickly disembarked. The armored vehicles completed their mission safely. The Ukrainian armed forces were evacuating when, unexpectedly, a Russian shell landed nearby. The wounded soldiers ran away from the scene. An unstoppable Russian fighter crosses the field in the direction of Pokrovsk under artillery fire and FPV drone attacks by the Ukrainian armed forces.
Don't forget to leave your opinion about the video in the comments, subscribe, and like.
Soldiers of the Russian Airborne Regiment destroyed a Ukrainian Armed Forces armored personnel carrier near Tetkino on the Kursk direction. Russian troops are calling on the enemies in the bunkers to surrender. If they don't answer the call or open fire, there is no turning back. 2 Russian soldiers threw grenades into the bunker and opened fire with rifles. Eventually, they entered the bunker and secured it. In the direction of Toretsk, the Russian engineering and offensive group first struck the strongholds of the Ukrainian armed forces north of Druzhba with a drone, and then 2 Russian soldiers came and literally destroyed the strongholds by dropping anti-tank mines. Here is the footage of 2 Russian soldiers destroying the Ukrainian armed forces strongholds with anti-tank mines. In a small section of the front line near the border village in the Sumy region, near the Russian border, a Russian FPV drone hit the 4-wheeled ATV vehicle of the Ukrainian armed forces hard. In the Kharkiv region, the BRM-1K used by the armed forces of Ukraine was destroyed. BRM-1K is an armored reconnaissance vehicle. Near Seversk, the Russian reconnaissance unit detected the movement of Ukrainian armed forces infantry. The infantrymen reached a bunker on foot. The coordinates were precisely calculated and transmitted to the artillery unit. After precise adjustments by the artillery, the fire was opened. The position of the Ukrainian infantry group was destroyed. A Russian fighter fought an FPV drone of the Ukrainian armed forces at extremely close range. The Russian fighter realized he was being followed by the drone. He quickly got out of the vehicle and tried to shoot down the drone with his rifle. Shooting down an extremely fast-moving drone is not an easy task. A group of Russian battle groups found a HIMARS 30 kilometers away. Then, they followed it. HIMARS is on its way after completing its mission. That's when Russia's UAVs swooped in and destroyed the HIMARS with a few strikes. Donetsk direction. From the border village of Pavlovka, Sumy region, towards the Russian state border, a Ukrainian armed forces column from the IMR and Western-made armored vehicles advanced. In the vicinity of the village of Novy Put, the Ukrainians were attacked. Engineering vehicles were destroyed. Russian troops attacked the Britannia Hotel in Kharkiv. A Jaran-2 kamikaze drone flying over Kharkiv this morning reportedly carried out the attack. UAV operators of the 238th Artillery Brigade's Assault and Reconnaissance Division successfully used the Lancet kamikaze drone as part of battery operations against another Ukrainian mortar formation. As a result of a precise fire attack, the Ukrainian position was eliminated. An armored vehicle used by the armed forces of Ukraine in the Pokrovsk direction was destroyed as a result of a well-prepared and planned attack. In the village of Yablonovka, the 33rd SMM UAV team destroyed the BMP-1 of the Ukraine Armed Forces with a precision FPV drone strike. During reconnaissance in the vicinity of Vovchansk, the movement of a group of Ukrainian soldiers was revealed. Taking shelter in a garage, the Ukrainian soldiers thought they were safe. A few minutes later, a Russian FPV drone attacked the building and destroyed it. Ground Forces Aviation of the Vostok Group strikes Ukrainian Armed Forces positions near Novopol. Russian UAV operators in the Sumy region found 5 Kozak armored personnel carriers in an underground garage of the Ukrainian armed forces near Novaya Pisarevka. The 5 armored vehicles were then destroyed in the garage by Russian FPV drones. Images from the Sumy region, where Russian troops continue to advance. A bunker hidden underground was detected. Then the Russian attack drone moved in and hit the door of the bunker. Then a fire broke out. In the same forest belt, a weapon, probably belonging to the same crew, was found and destroyed. I couldn't tell exactly what kind of weapon it was because it was camouflaged. Any thoughts? While the attacks continued in the same direction, another underground bunker was found and hit. Drone operators of the 3rd Combined Arms Army of the Southern Troop Group destroyed UAV control points of the Ukrainian armed forces in the forest belt with accurate strikes. Manpower was also hit. A position of the Ukrainian armed forces was detected near the same direction. The Russian artillery opened successive fire on this position in the forest belt and destroyed it. Near Andreevka, the 2 S-1 Gvozdika self-propelled howitzer of the Ukrainian armed forces was camouflaged. However, even though they camouflaged the howitzer from the front, they left the rear side and even the door open. This led to the easy destruction of the howitzer. This is how a FAB-250 UMPK hit the position of the Ukrainian armed forces. Russian FPV drones shot down a Ukrainian truck in the evening. Then, in the same direction, they hit another pickup truck coming to rescue the truck crew. The footage shows Russian troops working to repel an attack by unmanned boats. The video shows a BAK with an anti-aircraft guided missile mounted on it. This video shows how effective landing craft with machine guns are against such targets. This boat has no crew. It is remotely controlled.
Don't forget to leave your opinion about the video in the comments, subscribe, and like.
A column of 10 ATVs of the Ukrainian armed forces moved from Pavlovka, Sumy region, towards the Russian state border. Using mobile equipment, the Ukrainians hoped to pass unnoticed in the vicinity of the border village of Novy Put, Kursk region. However, the Russian artillery fired back at the Ukrainians, delivering a targeted hit to the concentration of troops. In the direction of Chasiv Yar, Russian troops continue to attack simultaneously from several directions in order to break through the Ukrainian armed forces' defenses and gain a foothold in key areas of Chasiv Yar. In the northern part of the urban area, Ukrainian troops are fighting in the Novoseverny micro-district and are trying to advance towards the Severny mine and the nearby quarry. On the opposite side of the railway line, assault groups are advancing in the area of Mira and Gorky streets, using small mobile group tactics supported by artillery and drones. The liberation of Chasiv Yar, which is held by Ukrainian troops and located on a commanding height, and the control of the surrounding area will open the way for Russian troops to Konstantinovka, Druzhkivka, Kramatorsk, and Slavyansk. It will also make it possible to develop an offensive in the direction of the Kharkiv region in order to completely expel Ukrainian troops from the territory of Donbass in the neighboring Seversk and Limansk directions. The Russian Defense Ministry reported that the Russian armed forces destroyed a Ukrainian armed forces Baba Yaga in the Orakovsky direction. First Armored Army operators shot down a Ukrainian pickup truck. A UAV crew shot a Ukrainian logistics transport vehicle several times before setting the vehicle on fire with an incendiary shell. Western outskirts of Donetsk, Marinka, Druzhba Boulevard, May 2025. In the Pokrovsk direction, a Ukrainian hut with electronic devices was hit. There is no information on whether there were personnel inside the hut. It was reported that there were many antennas and electronic devices in the hut. Possibly these could be UAV equipment.